Okay, so here we are with another Mcfarlane DC Multiverse unboxing, and this is Animal Man. So yesterday was a really rough day for me because I had to go to a meeting for my work, and to do this, I had to drive like balls deep into Atlanta, like dead center of Atlanta, which, if there's no traffic at all, would take me like 20 minutes. In the light traffic there was when I was driving up there for this meeting at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when I'm usually asleep. Uh, Traffic was fairly light, so it took me maybe like 35 minutes. But driving home after the 2 hour meeting, when it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon and now officially rush hour, took me like 2 hours. So I spent 3 hours round trip getting to and from a 2 hour meeting. And when I got home, I was like completely exhausted. So I wound up falling asleep. And I was going to do an episode when I woke up, but I got a message from Captain Have Fun saying, "Hey, you want to try to do a stream today?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, let's do that." Even though I was like really tired and probably not at 100%, but I thought that sounded like a lot of fun. But I didn't hear back from him again. So, like, I'm guessing he just read the first part of my message where I was telling him, "Oh, this is why I didn't get back to you soon enough because I was asleep." And he probably took that as, oh, well, he probably doesn't want to stream. I don't know. Maybe it was a miscommunication or something. But I didn't hear back from him. But I was waiting for him before I did any kind of stream because, if I was going to do a stream, I was going to do the stream with him. And it wound up getting to be like 4 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, well, I guess that's not going to happen. So I fell asleep again, and this time slept till like 9 o'clock. My sleeping has been just so messed up lately, guys. It's been really messed up. So anyway, I think things probably would have worked out for the best because I was really tired. So I would not have been on my game for that stream, even if it had happened. So it probably worked out just as well. And besides, I'd already promised you guys that the next stream I was going to do, I was going to go ahead and open up these guys, or this guy, Animal Man. Now, granted, whenever I stream with him, I consider that more of a special than an actual episode. So I would have been fine, skipping this guy for that episode and being like, hey, next regular episode, I'm going to open up this guy. But I did want to try to keep my Superman figures all together because, I'm pretty, OCD about that. Not clinically diagnosed OCD, but it's my own sort of like, I feel like I'm OCD about it. I don't mean any disrespect to anybody who actually has OCD. So just because I know that's a real thing for a lot of people. But for me, I just get kind of like laser focused on stuff. I don't know. It's just how I am. Anyway, so that didn't work out. So Captain Have Fun's watching this. I'm sorry that didn't work out. And let's try to do it again next week because I would enjoy doing that next week. I got the Superboy figure I still want to open up. And I guess whenever we get around doing that, that'll be when I start opening up those Superman figures. But till then, I'm just going to be like, opening up kind of random stuff that I have in my pile. And it's mostly going to be DC Multiverse because I still have a bunch of DC Multiverse to open. I know I've got a lot of G.I. Joe to open, but I want to keep all that stuff together. I've got a lot of Masters of the Universe to open, but I want to keep all that stuff together. I went ahead and opened up Lion-O because I was really excited about Lion-O. By the way, I did get Battle Cat today, so we've got him coming up. He'll be in that stack of Masters of the Universe that I get around to opening. And I managed to find a Steve Trevor figure, which I'm really excited about. So he's probably going to be my next episode. So you want to make sure you don't miss that one. Make sure that you like and subscribe and all that fun stuff down below. I like to say like and subscribe. I subscribe to say like and subscribing. I like to like and subscribe on stuff myself. And, I'm sure you do too. So don't miss out on your opportunity to like and subscribe right now if you're enjoying this content. So, Animal Man, I got him a while back. This is clearly based on Grant Morrison's take on the character, but he's missing something that I'm sure a lot of you out there noticed if you were a fan of Grant Morrison's run on the comic. And if you're not, here's a hint on the back. Yeah, he's supposed to be wearing a jacket, isn't he? Now, recently, Mcfarlane put out a superpowers figure of Animal Man, which I do not have. I did get two figures from that wave. I got Nightwing and I got Dead Man, but I wound up skipping Animal Man for reasons I'll get into on another episode. But that one came with a cloth jacket, which is not usual for superpowers. It's very unusual for superpowers. This is not an illustration from Grant Morrison's run, I don't think, but it's consistent with how the character was illustrated for the most part. His goggles are shaped kind of funny. They're not quite shaped correctly, which they are on this figure. But he does have the jacket, which he does not have on this figure. And that disappoints me because that was something that was kind of a trademark of Morrison's version of the character. And the main reason that Animal Man wore a jacket was so that he had some pockets so he could carry his wallet and stuff like that. Anyway, we can see here on the side it says Animal Man, the Human Zoo, which I believe is more of a nickname than like a story title. You know, a lot of times they'll have some kind of storyline on here that, you know, this particular version of the character came from. But no, I think that's just like, you know, how Superman is the Man of Steel and Batman is the Dark Knight and Wonder Woman is the Amazing Amazon and, you know, the Flash is the Scarlet Speedster, Animal Man is the Human Zoo. So let's go ahead and set that aside. And I've had this figure for a while. I got him back when this figure went on clearance over at Target. It was a Target exclusive. You can see that gold label there if you hadn't noticed. So yeah, I got him when he was on clearance and kind of set him aside and kind of forgot about him. And when I look over to the other side of the room where I got my stack of DC Multiverse figures, I'm like, oh yeah, I still got that Animal Man I got to open. Been mentioning that several times on the show. Still got that Animal Man I got to open. Still got that Animal Man I got to open. Well, finally, I'm opening them up. So here we go. There's the same artwork from the back, just kind of more closely cropped. That's what the back of the trading card looks like. And it reads, Animal Man, the Human Zoo, data file, real name Buddy Baker. Debuting in the mid-1960s, Animal Man was born after an alien visitation. After a stint as a member of the Forgotten Heroes, Buddy became a founding member of Justice League Europe in his own title. He discovered his true origins and even broke the fourth wall years before Deadpool, I might add, but not before Superman. Superman was still the first guy to do it. Meeting the writer of his exploits, Animal Man became an ambassador of the Red at one point, changing his look with long black and white hair. Yeah, that must have been when he went Vertigo and went all goth and ditched the whole superhero look entirely. Yeah, the writer they mention on here is Grant Morrison, who actually wrote himself into the comic and then wound up being made into a member of Suicide Squad and killed off. So yeah, that's the dangers of writing yourself into a comic book. Oh, you're a character in this comic book now? Well, screw you, Grant Morrison. I'm killing you off. Anyway, so that's what happened with that. Animal Man was a pretty good comic. I enjoyed that comic. That was one of Grant Morrison's first forays into American superhero comics. When he first came over to DC, he did that and Doom Patrol, and Doom Patrol was even weirder. And he was a Vertigo guy for the longest time because of that, even after writing a best-selling Batman graphic novel, one of my favorite Batman comics, by the way. And, wound up coming back to doing mainstream superhero titles, did JLA and All-Star Superman and pretty cool run on Batman and a bunch of other stuff. I like Grant Morrison. Grant Morrison's good. So anyway, we got a bunch of extra hands here. But yeah, I do wish that he came with some kind of soft goods coat. I think that would have made this figure a lot better. I would have preferred for it to be an ordinary fabric coat because this character is supposed to be a vegetarian and very strongly opinionated on animal rights. And I would imagine would probably be like the most annoying kind of vegan you can imagine. I don't mean any offense to anybody out there who who might be watching and might be a vegan, that's a valid choice of a lifestyle. You can be a vegan if you want. I got nothing against that. But you know how some people can just get like really annoying about being a vegan. Like like people can be annoying about a lot of stuff, but the stereotypical the uh how do you know somebody's a vegan? Don't worry, he'll tell you. And I don't want to perpetuate that stereotype. I know a lot of cool people who are vegans who aren't jerks about it, and they're cool people, and my hat's off to them. But there's a reason that there are stereotypes a lot of the times, and some vegans are like that, and most aren't, in my experience. But that's because, like, most people that I hang out with are just cool anyway. Why would I hang out with somebody that's not cool? Why would I hang out with somebody that's a jerk? I don't want to hang out with you if you're a jerk. I only want to hang out with cool people. So if they're a jerk about being vegan, I'm not going to want to hang out with them. If they're cool about being vegan, then that's cool. Like, you feel me? I don't rub it in other people's faces that I meet. I don't want people rubbing it in my faces that they don't. But I kind of feel like Buddy would be kind of a little bit obnoxious about it. He's a nice guy, but I kind of feel like he'd be a little bit obnoxious about it, So not so obnoxious about it that people would not want to hang out with him at all, but obnoxious enough about it that people who hang out with him would, here he goes again with this nonsense, that kind of thing. So you can see he's got a bunch of extra hands. Did hold some of those up, and there's two of these flying hands, one for the left and one for the right. He can fly, if he can absorb animal powers from birds or insects or whatever. And then we got a trigger finger kind of gripping hand. And then we got that's for the left hand. And then for the right hand, we have a solid fist. And the hands that are on the figure already is he has a solid fist on the right hand and this kind of funky animal hand. I think that was from a cover. I seem to remember that from one of those Brian Bolland covers. By the way, they did a really good job of capturing the look of Brian Bolland's artwork on the head. I think that looks very much like how Brian Bolland would have drawn Animal Man. They didn't really mention how his powers work on that trading card, though, did they? So I'll go ahead and explain that to you real quick. Basically, Buddy can absorb powers and abilities from any kind of insect that's around him. And that makes him kind of ridiculously overpowered when you realize that includes like things like microscopic organisms and things like that. So that's really cool. And you can see that he's got this again very much on that Bronze Age design. He's got this kind of stylized A that then wraps around his waist like a belt. Earth Dude is here and he says, "We Batman," and we are indeed. So welcome, my friend. So I do remember this from a cover, but I don't remember him shape-shifting all that much in the comics that I read. But I guess as he got more powerful, I think that he did that in the Vertigo comics, but I don't remember him doing that in the Grant Morrison comics. Grant Morrison left before it became a proper Vertigo title, which is weird because, like I said, he's very associated with Vertigo. But I don't think he wrote any of his Vertigo titles when he was actually at Vertigo, because I think that Doom Patrol and Animal Man both got folded into Vertigo, but I think he was gone from both of those titles by that point. And he did Sebastian O, which was a Vertigo title, but actually did not start as a Vertigo title. It was started under the Touchmark imprint that Disney Comics was going to start their adults oriented comic line, but that fell apart, and DC wound up buying most of those titles and folding them into the Vertigo umbrella. Enigma by Peter Milligan was another one of those. So yeah, I don't think he was doing the Vertigo version of Animal Man at all. And like I said, they pretty much ditched all the superhero aspects of the character when we got into Vertigo and made him more of like a kind of traveling cult leader or something like that. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't read it. It just seemed to me like once they ditched all the superhero stuff, I'm like, pass. I'm kind of done with that. So, but I enjoyed Grant Morrison's run on Animal Man. I thought that was some really good stuff. Anyway, he does come with a little critter here, and I think it's some kind of badger or something like that. I don't know exactly what it is, but he's definitely a little fierce little guy, like a badger or a wolverine or something like that. I'm not sure. I guess I'd have to look it up. At first, I thought it was a beaver, but then I noticed that the tail wasn't like a beaver tail, and he's got fangs, not buck teeth. But at first, I thought he was like an angry beaver, but apparently not. You know, nothing's more scary to me than an angry beaver. You know, that's pretty terrifying. So I like a nice happy beaver. I think most dudes do. So anyway, let's go ahead and talk about the articulation on this guy. I do like the colors and everything. It's very much like how we saw in the comic book, and he does have that kind of problem that these figures oftentimes have with the butterfly joint, and how it makes these kind of like suspenders that go under the armpits. But what are you going to do? That's just how that's going to be. And if you don't like the animal hand, like I said, he's got lots of extra hands you can swap out. And I'm probably going to do something with his trigger finger hand, since I'm going to leave him with a fist. But there's characters that I would want to have gripping hands that don't, and I think I can probably use that on one. I'm going to set those aside for now. And we looked at the beaver. Yeah, so yeah, we've been over all the accessories. So let's talk about his articulation. So Animal Man can look up about that far, look down about that far, tilt his head kind of quizzically from side to side, rotate the head all the way around. Of course, the arms rotate all the way around the shoulders, and they go up about that far. It's got the good Mcfarlane butterfly joint on there, so you got lots of wiggle room. Torso, well, we're getting ahead of ourselves, not the torso articulation yet. He's got double jointed elbows. That's about the range of motion you get at the elbows. By the way, I don't think I mentioned this yet. He is on that kind of somewhat standard DC superheroes buck that we see a lot, like the Riddler and Captain Atom, Blue Beetle, Booster Gold. Too many figures to name at this point have used this standard buck. The Flash uses it a lot, but I really like this buck, so I never really mind seeing it. I know sometimes people are like, "Oh, that buck's like overused, it's played out, whatever." No, it's a good buck. You can get a lot of use out of this buck. They can still get a lot of use out of this buck. If Mcfarlane had the license for another 20 years, they could probably use this buck the entire time, and I probably wouldn't get sick of it. So anyway, he's got the cool Mcfarlane torso articulation, so he can lean from side to side like that, bend back about that far, bend forward about that far. You can get a lot of good dramatic poses out of this guy. Of course, the torso rotates all the way around, where the torso meets the abs and where the abs meet the trunks. And part of the problem with this character specifically is, since he does have that A design on that chest, you know, it does kind of there's only like a certain amount of movement you can put into it before it kind of breaks up the torso. See, like if you want to do like a pretty extreme turn like that, you see how that just completely messes up that design. But the good news is that like I kind of feel like that's a fairly extreme pose, and most of the net, like if I lean them all the way this way, see, it still lines up fairly well. It doesn't line up exactly, but you can imagine like the fabric is wrinkling or something. It happens in real life. So I think they did a really good job of getting this particular design to line up fairly well, no matter what position he's in, as at least as far as like a natural kind of human position. So I think they did a good job with that. Animal Man can kick up about that far, which is pretty good range of motion there. He does have a slight wobble here, not a full rotation, but you do have a little bit of extra posability at the hip there, so that's nice. He's got double jointed knees. That's about the range of motion you get at the knees. One problem that I do have with this buck, if I'm being honest about it, and I'd probably rather they got rid of this, and I think they have now. I think they now have a smooth shin, if I remember correctly. But the way that they put this boot on the shin, I think that's an artifact of like how they originally designed this buck for Blue Beetle. And of course, he had a nice, thick, black line at the top of his boot. But it's still on a lot of figures that don't have boots like this. Like you can see the Riddler is supposed to just have like just plain tights, and he's still got that trim on there, the black trim from Blue Beetle's boot. And Animal Man still has it, even though he's got his own sort of funky trim. By the way, I think they did a really good job on this trim. It's the same on the wrists. Depending on the artist, sometimes it can be a lot more narrow and spiny, and sometimes it's kind of more like this, where it's almost kind of a reverse Batman scalloping. You can, if you look at the orange shape of it, you can see that kind of Batman scalloping that I'm talking about. But it's kind of the reverse of it if you look at the black. So anyway, Animal Man does not have a boot cut, but he does have the cool Mcfarlane torso articulation. So the torso, he has the cool Mcfarlane ankle articulations. The ankle rotates all the way around, where the ankle meets the shin and where the ankle meets the foot. So you can still get all the articulation you would get out of a boot cut, only without the boot cut. By the way, I didn't talk about the wrist articulation, and he's got the cool Mcfarlane wrist articulation. So you can move the wrists around pretty much any which way you want, and that's a good thing. So I was like that. Anyway, back to the ankles. Animal Man's foot points down about that far, points up about that far, and then he's got toe articulation just to show off. So anyway, Animal Man is a really cool figure, and I doubt you're going to find him at Target now, because like I said, this figure came out like a year ago, and I've had him for a while. I'm just now getting around to opening it, but you might be able to find him at your local Target. Maybe they've got one that's been hanging around on the pegs, and you can convince them to buy it, let you buy it, even if it doesn't ring up. Or you might be able to find him on eBay. I don't know what the price is for Animal Man on eBay right now. Why don't I go ahead and take a look, work the Google on my internet machine. eBay. God, my computer's so slow. All right, so we'll go to ebay.com, and real quick, I will look up this Animal Man figure and see what we can find as far as the pricing on there. Mcfarlane, DC Multiverse, Animal Man. Yeah, it looks like you can still get Animal Man on here for fairly cheap. I'm seeing a lot of them in the $20 range, at least before shipping. So I would imagine, like, if you still need this guy and you don't have him yet, you could probably get him for like $30 easily, looking at some of the prices on here. And $30 is not a bad price for a DC figure from that long ago. I think that that's still like a really good price. I'm guessing a lot of these people probably snagged this guy when he was on clearance, and even if they sell him at retail, they're still making a little bit of a profit. So that's cool. So anyway, I think that's pretty much it for Animal Man. I hope you enjoyed it. He's a great figure, but the only thing that to me is kind of detrimental to him is that he does not have a jacket, and Animal Man really should have a jacket. I kind of feel like that's something that's like an important part of the character's look. Now, if it was the Silver Age version of Animal Man, I wouldn't care so much. I'd be like, well, he didn't have a jacket in the Silver Age. He didn't have that till like much later on, like post-Crisis, like Grant Morrison Animal Man comics. But this is obviously supposed to be a Grant Morrison Animal Man, so they probably should have, if not given him like a sculpted jacket, at least given him like a soft goods type of jacket, like Mr. Terrific here had. So, and like I said, I'd rather have sculpted jackets than soft goods jackets. That's just me, but I'd rather have a soft goods jacket than no jacket at all. But he's still a great figure, and I'm sure like you could probably find some kind of jacket to fit on him that would look good, or make one yourself if you're so talented with that sort of thing. And I might do that. I kind of feel like that was something they got right on the Superpowers figure, which I don't have, was they gave him a fabric jacket. And I'd rather have a fabric jacket than a pleather jacket, which I think he's supposed to have in the comic book. But if it was me, and I was doing a live action version of Animal Man, I would definitely give him like a nylon, like a bomber jacket kind of thing. I wouldn't give him a leather looking jacket at all. Even if it is pleather, it would be obvious that it's a fabric jacket again, because he in my mind is a vegan, like almost to the point where it's annoying. Not quite to the point where it's annoying, but almost to the point where it's slightly annoying. But anyway, that's it for Animal Man. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure that you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about Animal Man. Hopefully next week I can do that live stream with Captain Have Fun, and we've been talking about some Superman figures in the next week, hopefully, because I know I got a lot of Superman figures to open up, and I've got some stuff waiting on me in my pile of loot at Big Bad Toy Store, and that's going to have more He-Man, that's going to have more G.I. Joe, more DC Multiverse. It's got a little bit of everything in there, so I'm going to have a lot of cool stuff to be opening next week. But yeah, make sure you like and subscribe, because YouTube likes it when I say like and subscribe, so I like to say like and subscribe, so I say like and subscribe a lot. Leave a comment, because I like it when you leave comments. That helps with the algorithm too. But I personally like it when you leave comments, even when they're derogatory, even when you say I talk too much and don't show the figure enough. That's fine. I like engagement. Engagement is good. So yeah, but let me know what you think about Animal Man, both the character in general and this figure specifically, and what were some moments that you enjoyed in the Animal Man comic. Man, I'm just really impressed with that head sculpt the more I look at it. Like, he's like the way that the hair kind of does, like here, that little bit of a forelock there. They really caught the look of Brian Bolland's artwork. I'm really happy with this. This would be a perfect Animal Man figure if he had the jacket, and as it is, it's only about like 98% perfect. Oh, Bobby Wald is here, and he says it's a very pale Beast Boy. he's a Beast Man. Not to be confused with Masters of the Universe Beast Man, which, by the way, is one of the figures that I'll have to open up when we get into our next batch of Masters of the Universe. I did get the Masterverse Beast Man. I'm very excited about that. So we got Beast Man, we got She-Ra, the new Etheria She-Ra, and then we got the new Eternia on the way, I should say. I have the new Eternia versions of Tila and Cobra Khan. Those are in my pile of loot right now, so I'll have those on the way shortly. We still got a bunch of G.I. Joe to open up, both classified G.I. Joe and some Super 7 G.I. Joe stuff that I'm pretty excited about. I got more of those O-ring figures. You know, I was digging those O-ring figures when I opened up Snake Eyes and Cobra Commander, and I finally got around to getting some more. So in my pile of loot right now is Falcon, and I already have Wild Bill and Duke to open up, so I'm really excited about those. Bobby Wald says, I've been meaning to order a Cobra Khan. He looks really good. He's got that hood, that opened up hood that I like a lot. I even 3D printed a head with the open hood for my Origins Cobra Khan. I don't know if I showed that on this channel before, but I'll try to have him ready to show off whenever I get around to opening up that Masterverse figure. But that's it for Animal Man. Hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Yes, I'm going to say it again. And next episode, I'm going to be opening up. Do I have him over here? I don't think I brought him over here to the couch with me. But I got Steve Trevor. I did manage to find the Page Puncher Steve Trevor figure. I'm super excited about that, because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get Steve Trevor at all or not. So he's going to be my next figure that I open. We've still got quite a few DC Multiverse figures to open up on the show. We got Cyclone, we got Fire, I did Max Mercury, Cyclone, Fire, Steve Trevor. I think I got another one, but I can't remember what it would be. But I got a ton of stuff to open, so we're going to have plenty of stuff to open. Don't worry, it's going to be cool. So anyway, that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.